Today's movie features the greatest shower death scene since Psycho. Ah, wait, I'm lying. It's not that good, but it's got a naked Linnea Quigley in it, and that has to count for something, right? Welcome to Sick Flicks, where I take a deep dive into the cinematic sewer to help you embrace your inner gore geek. I'm Mike Bracken, aka The Horror Geek, and today we're tackling Kevin Tenney's video store staple, Witchtrap. Released in 1989, many people assumed Witchtrap was a sequel to Tenney's cult classic Ouija board flick, Witchboard. However, Witchtrap was its own movie, even though the same actor played the villain in both films. There's nary a Ouija board to be found in this tale of a group of psychics sent to spiritually cleanse a haunted mansion, but there is a naked Linnea Quigley, some pretty great deaths, and some of the most wooden line deliveries in the history of this channel.
It seems so senseless.
Name me a killing that isn't senseless.
I suppose. But it has more of an impact when it's someone you know personally.
But enough about that. Can Witchtrap scare up a 5 barf bag rating? Let's get to the gore and find out. Oh, and before we get started, today's video is sponsored by patrons Hugo Zapata, Mario McQuay, and Joe Lambert. If you'd like to sponsor some videos and help free me from the shackles of YouTube's tyranny, you'll find a link to my Patreon in the pinned comment and description below. And now, let's get bloody. We fade in on some credits. Cinema Plus. I can only afford Cinema 87. None of that high-octane shit. Hey, Kevin Tenney's back. We last saw him in Night of the Demons and Witchboard. I'm sensing a theme here. Man, this music has Full Moon features written all over it. I feel like I'm about to get puppet mastered. Wait a minute, the presents? I thought this was Witchtrap, but I've never turned down presents before, so there's that. Rob Zapple? Sounds like a Red Brown suited him. I've never heard of him, but it's the best name in the credits so far. I sure hope Hal was having a good time making this movie. Oh, Linnea Quigley is Ginger. Didn't realize this was part of the Gilligan's Island cinematic universe. I wonder who's playing Mary Ann. This movie is really trying to convince us they had a crew. Edited by William O. Sullivan. According to IMDb, this was the only movie he ever worked on in any regard. Always a good sign. Alright, Kevin Tenney, if this sucks, I'm blaming you. And we open with a house establishing shot. I've missed you house establishing shots. Still going. We're really establishing the shit out of this house. And cut to a new angle, so we can establish it some more. These Zillow video tours have really stepped up their game in terms of production values. Does Witchtrap Manor have a guest book? This seems pretty cozy. And look, the mantel has a picture of Orson Welles as Othello playing Macbeth. And jump zoom. And now the jump zoom is chasing Leisure Suit Larry in a bedazzled tux. I don't even know what's going on here. Go home, cameraman, you're drunk. But when he learns the monster doesn't want to eat him, Larry jumps out of the window. I love that they filmed his fall from like 18 different angles. We then jump to a different movie where this lady gets a call from director Kevin Tenney. No, really, that's him.
I assume the negative publicity will delay the end's opening?
Why am I suddenly getting Night Killer vibes? If she starts giving herself a breast exam, this video is over. After some jibber jabber about her wanting to study the hotel, she jogs into some exposition.
Whitney, you have a gift.
You mean a curse?
Or maybe she just wanted to borrow a bra. And now we cut to homicide, life on the street. Let's hope Pembleton's gonna talk to Munch. Never mind, we're just gonna watch Detective Vicente here try to iron his shirt while he's wearing it.
You know you're supposed to iron your shirts at home before you put them on.
Our heroes, ladies and gentlemen. Meanwhile, here's a building establishing shot. And a legs establishing shot. I wonder if they're attached to anything. Turns out they belong to Linnea Quigley.
Ginger, I have a bad feeling about this one.
Don't worry about it, it'll be fine.
And she's really phoning this one in. What a line read. And everyone is assembled to establish the plot. I think it's a bold move that Kevin Tenney here just filmed the table read and used it in the movie. Look at these two. It's like they just realized they got sucked into an Amway presentation.
These are Tony Faceni and Levi Jackson, my best operative.
His only operatives.
I hope the rest of the cast can keep up with this level of acting. Kevin Tenney then basically breaks down the script. His rich uncle gave him the haunted house from the first scene, and he's hired this team of mediums, videographers, and cops to fumigate this place. I guess the Ghostbusters were booked. And it's at this moment that Budget Catherine O'Hara realizes she left Kevin home alone again.
What kind of mother am I?
Anyway, Tenney wants to make the haunted mansion a haunted bed and breakfast mansion.
Suddenly, haunted houses are the in thing.
I'm not sold on the bed and breakfast idea, but at least they've got the marketing squared away.
I hired the amazing Asimov to spend the night in it.
I understand he was a fairly popular Las Vegas magician.
With his death, Lauderhouse has finally lived up to its nickname, Slaughterhouse.
Then the movie breaks the fourth wall.
Why are you here?
Lady, I've been asking myself this since I pushed play on this movie. Point of all this is the cops have to go to protect the psychics.
My men and I are professional security operatives. If there is something dangerous in that house, then your 3 best chances of survival is sitting right here.
Oh yeah, they're fucked. Later at the nearest dive bar, Tony and his boss talk backstory.
Your beer. It's as flat as my ex-wife's chest.
I don't think it's about Linnea Quigley's backstory. If you guessed Tony was slumming it as a Ghostbuster bodyguard because he was a loose cannon on the force and had to turn in his badge and gun, give yourself a screenwriter's credit. 45 minutes later, we're treated to another house establishing shot. Let's hope someone mopped up the dead guy out front. As soon as they get inside, Tony finds the source of all the haunting. It's the rich uncle's ashes. Man, he's good. And just as budget Tim Meadows and authentic Linnea Quigley are about to head out, they're greeted with a bumpkin scare.
Let's go get the gear.
Sweet, this movie has its very own Torgo. He must take care of the house while the master is away. Hey, that's Stooge from Night of the Demons, aka Hal Havens. Eat a bowl of fuck. After some more stilted line reads, we get our first bad acting showdown. Let's watch.
But Vicente's never been able to keep any of his opinions to himself.
Is he married to your sister, or do you merely have a soft spot for ill-mannered troglodytes?
Acting. Outside, Linnea does what she does best, meaning basically just standing around being Linnea Quigley while Torgo looks on. I feel like we're all that guy right now. We then cut to the attic, and I guess Eddie Furlong didn't move in here with his computer and a copy of Brain Scan until later. Looks like they've wandered into a Jack Chick tract. We're piling on the backstory now as not Catherine O'Hara and Tony delve into even more exposition. Basically, the dead guy downstairs was a super witch, and Family Dollar Catherine is extra scared. Then she calls me out.
Sure. Make stupid jokes.
Whoa, there's no need to get personal, lady. I'm just doing my job. Back downstairs, Linnea and company work on their Ghost Hunters pilot. It's pretty bad, but it does get a little better when our warlock reaches out from beyond the grave.
I am here to free you from this house.
I do not wish to be freed.
As a show of power, he makes our mental medium spaz out. He'll live, but he's embarrassingly sweaty. The good news is the mental medium did catch that the house's secret lies in the basement.
Now, if you two are quite finished, I'd like to explore the basement.
This is just like the Amityville Horror. Oh god, the situation is even worse. This thing shows the xenomorphs are closing in. I like that this guy's packing for the trip was basically just bringing different guns. That's a real man purse right there. In another room, Torgo's ready for the peep show. He's none too pleased when unclaimed freight Tim Meadows catches him.
Hey, fool! Don't you know you can go blind doing that?
Down in the basement, everyone's jibber-jabbering about a future plot device that says this machine is built to catch any ghost that tries to pass through it.
So this is some sort of an electromagnetic vacuum type.
Exactly.
This movie really loves to talk about things. This scintillating repartee is interrupted when one medium finds a terrible fake wall and an even worse pentagram scribbled on it. Will any of this pay off? Who cares? Linnea Quigley is about to take her clothes off. There's no lipstick in the medicine cabinet. With Linnea safely in the shower, we head back to Dollar General Catherine O'Hara, who's practicing for her Solid Gold Dancer audition. And for the first time ever, actual evidence of ghosts is picked up by a camera. Back upstairs, Linnea's gratuitous shower scene is interrupted by a rogue shower head. Haha, there's your problem. She thought it was set on mist, but it was actually on throat punch. It looks like budget Catherine O'Hara can sense when other people get whacked, because now that Linnea's dead, her seizure is over. Following a hunch that she might be naked, Tim and Tony run upstairs to check on Linnea. She's looking great. I mean, besides the giant hole in her throat. The mental medium tries to call the cops, but the phone is as dead as Linnea. They send budget Tim Meadows to the nearest police station to get help while they try to figure out how to keep this momentum going. Also, could this be the second time a black man survives a Kevin Tenney horror movie? I'm getting strong Raj vibes here. Tony then demonstrates why he won't be getting Employee of the Month.
You are a real Neanderfuck, you know that?
Wonder if it's too late to give this movie the Best Screenplay Oscar for 1989. Generic Tim Meadows tries to get off the property, but the gate is locked. Oh god, it's Paganini horror all over again. And I may have spoken too soon regarding his chances of living through this movie. Back inside, Catherine O'Hara is auditioning for Flashdance. Oh yeah, so much for Tim Meadows. Say what you will, but he makes a pretty good hood ornament. And he's clearly feeling pretty tired. And since we need to kill 45 more minutes, why not stop for another dialogue scene? Here we learn how Catherine got her psychic powers. She was almost killed by a riptide. Man, I love that show. Do you kids even remember Riptide? Christ, I'm old. She's basically just reading her lines right off of the script on the other side of these curtains. After that, it's time for a house establishing shot. You know, just in case you forgot, they were still in the house. Then we're treated to one of the worst line readings ever.
Indulging in a quiet moment of introspection or just looking for blemishes?
Not sure what's worse, the writing or the delivery. And we're gonna double down with another bad acting showdown.
We didn't really know Ginger all that well, dear. We only worked with her that one time at the Stonedine Mansion.
I know, but I can't help but feel responsible. After all, we did bring her here.
Man, these two are more wooden than a lumberyard. I've seen electric cars with dead batteries that have more range. Oh, I get it. These two are bargain bin versions of Ed and Lorraine Warren. This whole thing is The Conjuring. If you want this scene to not suck, imagine Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga having this conversation instead.
Think about it, Felix. We could be making history here.
Then they even drop a Book of Matthew quote here.
Either you're with me or against me.
If I'd known this movie was going to drop a gospel on me, I'd have worn my fancy Sunday church pants. The convo finally ends with an "I'm sure we'll be fine," but Ames Catherine O'Hara is having another seizure. Who's gonna get it this time? If you guessed Tony's boss, give yourself another screenwriter's credit. He's up here probing some holes.
Hell yeah.
No, not like that, you pervs. He's vigorously cleaning the chambers of his gun. Then Uncle Ghost declares him to be number one, with a bullet. Looks like we're about to get a twofer because Tony is in trouble too. Quick tip, if you're in a horror movie, don't hang out in a room full of pointy things. Looks like he missed the point. Since the knife didn't do the trick, Torgo steps in. If Troy McGregor and Zap Browsdower ever got into a fist fight, it would have been just like this. These dudes are throwing more punches than you see in a Rocky movie. Zap grabs Troy's gun and takes off. I don't think we've seen the last of him. With most of the cast dead, the survivors get together to take stock of what remains, and it's shaping up to be pretty lame.
He came through Whitney when she was alone in her room.
What are you telling me? The ghost killed him?
Tony's still not convinced the ghost is the killer, so he heads out to steal the A-Team's van. Luckily, it's empty because Mr. T pities the fool who comes to knock him when his van is a-rockin'. When he's checking the engine, Yokel Torgo opens fire. Tony survives, but the van isn't so lucky. He only had 3 days left until retirement. It was the Ford Pinto of vans. Ed Warren comes outside to check on things, but Torgo sends him back in with some hot lead.
Mr. Vicente! Mr. Vicente, are you all right?
With nothing to do but watch Ed bleed, Beer Goggles Catherine O'Hara chimes in with more plot. The ghost has almost completed his ritual to live once again. They're gonna need that PKE meter to work, though, if they want to stop this ghost.
If my vacuum works, it'll be the most important accomplishment in the history of parapsychology.
And Lorraine has some more instructions on how to end this movie.
If you find Lauder's missing heart and rejoin it with the rest of his remains, then the soul will finally be laid to rest.
Man, there are a multitude of ways they can screw this up. While the detective goes in search of the ghost's missing heart, Ed and Lorraine devise a plan to capture the crazy uncle once and for all.
Maybe you can trick Lauder's ghost into telling you where the urn is. And even if you can't, I may be able to get a feeling for it while he's speaking through me.
While that's going on, Catherine O'Hara has run to the nearest graveyard to get her ghost. Look at all that fog. Mateo and Fragasso must be filming a movie here. With Tony and Catherine playing grab-ass in the cemetery, Ed channels the evil uncle, and Lorraine reveals that his heart is behind the fake pentagram wall from earlier. I knew that was gonna pay off. Lorraine's smart mouth gets the best of her, though, as Uncle Evil decides he's had enough of Ed Warren.
And I'll finally destroy you, you unholy son of a bitch!
Man, he must have watched Scanners. No way I can show this exploding head. Outside, Tony and Catherine make the always wise decision to split up. But first, Torgo scare. Tony's had enough of this shit, and he makes a few points of his own. Hollow points. And he even gets a cool catchphrase.
Say goodnight, Gracie.
That's pretty good, but eat a bowl of fuck would have been better. Back at the house on Haunted Hill, our hero finds Lorraine, and she's newly single. They grab the Witchtrap and set off to find the Heart of the Sea, or the Heart of the Warlock Uncle. I can't remember which. It is down here in the Blair Witch's basement, apparently. While that's happening, our clearance rat Kate McAllister has finally headed home to get Kevin. And in our other movie, they find the heart in this nifty collector's box. Pro tip, if you're hiding something, don't mark the exact spot where it can be found. Catherine thinks she's at the police station, but she's actually right back in the basement.
Oh my god, it was all just an illusion.
Wow, imagine how good this movie would have been if most of these actors weren't horrible. She starts spazzing again, and Tony takes a shovel to the head. I don't know, I was hoping for something a little more groundbreaking here. Then Lorraine takes an axe to the dome. Excedrin is not going to help with that splitting headache. Tony would be joining her, but he's got the Witchtrap to protect him. He then goes to check on sorta Catherine O'Hara to let her know he's got our Warlock in his Witchtrap, but I doubt it because there's at least 10 minutes of this movie left. Unfortunately, they need to join the Heart with the Ashes to defeat our villain once and for all, but they have no idea where that missing urn is. Maybe they should check the first act. They search the attic for the missing ashes, but back in the basement, the King Warlock is about to bust out of the Witchtrap. In order to achieve his full power, he possesses the last remaining psychic, and she immediately gives Tony a taste of her pimp hand. And he immediately uses her to retrieve his ashes, which she drinks with no chaser. I guess it's better than Jaeger. Tony checks on her, but all he gets is an uncle scare. What a time for his beer goggles to wear off. After some negotiation, our Warlock goes all Olivia Newton-John and gets physical with Tony. But then he starts over-explaining everything like he's some kind of half-assed Bond villain.
And then I'm going to eat your soul.
With bullets not working, Tony goes for the next best thing and shoots the heart box. That's very effective. He runs out of ammo just as it's getting good, but then he throws the heart out of the window to see if that does anything, and it works perfectly. In a few minutes, he'll be smoking. Hey, this is just like Tourist Trap. Or maybe he looked at the Ark of the Covenant. I don't know if even Dr. Ted Nelson could fix this. Bonus points if you get that reference. Underneath all the melting, not quite Catherine O'Hara struggles free. She looks great. And with pretty much everyone dead, our survivors drive their sweet Ford station wagon off the set. Afterwards, Tony opens up his own noir detective agency. Booze, cigarettes, weird light, ticking all the boxes. He wants to be in Chinatown, but the only gigs available are X-Files.
I don't care what the article said, lady. I don't do haunted houses.
There's not much time left in this movie, but there's always time for one more house establishing shot. And some football practice. And that's it for Witchtrap. What have we learned today? Well, for starters, Witchtrap is not related to the controversial Sega CD game Night Trap. Although you could have probably put Dana Plato in this movie without making it any worse. Beyond that, this one isn't nearly as much fun as Tenney's first Witchboard film. Sure, it's got J.P. Loubson as the villain again, but he's got even less to do this time around. It just doesn't have the same level of earnestness as Witchboard, even though it does have the same penchant for endless dialogue scenes. I've always liked Tenney's work, but this is one I don't often revisit. But enough about that. Can Witchtrap sum up a 5 barf bag rating? Let's go to the gore card! In terms of gross anatomy, Witchtrap mostly delivers. This movie might be slow and overly chatty, but when the blood and guts come, it's usually worth the wait. We're treated to multiple shootings, an axe to the head, death by shower nozzle, an incredible melting man, and a pretty great exploding head. It's extra interesting that the special makeup effects for Witchtrap were created by Judy Yonemoto. I like it when the ladies bring the splatter. At any rate, there's enough carnage here to give Witchtrap a solid 3 barf bag rating. This is a decently sick flick. Looking for another 80s splatter movie with more supernatural shenanigans? Then be sure to check out my review of Don't Panic. You'll find a link here on the screen. I'll meet you over there. Until next time, I'm Mike Bracken, aka The Horror Geek, bringing you all the splatter that matters.